to the vision that they have for themselves. And today I am so thrilled to be chatting with my friend Cass. So Cass,
Hi.
I will let you introduce yourself to everyone, but as we all know, I have been connecting with other entrepreneurs just to have them share their stories and have them connect with you guys as well. And hopefully you find great inspiration from our conversation. So, Cass, who are you? Let the people know. Who are you?
Awesome. Okay, so my name is Cass. I am from Toronto, Ontario. I do a wealth of things. The thing that I do most is children's entertainment. So I've got a children's entertainment company called All the Craze Entertainment. We do live entertainment for birthday parties, corporate events, you name it, as well as a kids storytelling podcast called Kids from Room 416. And my idea of like my dream life is to bring about joy in everyone that I meet.
That's awesome. And you brought a lot of joy to me. Guys,
Aw.
not often do we have a lot of entrepreneurs that live in the city that I live. So usually we have to travel somewhere to meet other people, but Cass actually is someone local that I've been able to connect to on an ongoing basis. And we've developed quite a great friendship, deeply
Mm-hmm.
connecting on entrepreneurship and just
For
designing our
sure.
lives the
Yeah.
way that we want it to look like. Cool. So Cass, let me know, what would you say was a defining moment in your entrepreneurial journey and the way that you think about business?
Oh man, I would say there's been so many defining moments from the beginning when I would just do things for free, whether it is go to a friend's kid's birthday party and do face painting, or I remember I had a boss at that time, and my boss was like, "Hey, my friend is having this their kid's birthday party. Would you be able to go and paint faces and they'll pay you?" And I was like, "Oh, they'll pay me? Like I can get paid for this?" So I think that was my one defining moment in monetizing my skills and feeling confident in asking for money and setting my price. And then I think maybe the first time that I raised my prices, doing market research and being like, oh, I'm kind of underselling myself and I'm doing such a good job. So just being able to see the feedback and being afraid of these things, being afraid of raising my prices. I know you and I have spoken about this so many times. It's like, oh, I'm sitting there, I'm like, I don't know what it's going to do to my business. And it's like, people will still book if you have the quality
That's
and if you have the customer experience and if you're giving the customer experience and you have the customer service. So I think it's just, pushing the envelope, still growing, and always listening to what's going on the ground.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And that's so true. Your value is what your clients are paying for. And
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's priceless, but yeah, there is a dollar amount that you can set.
Yeah.
Lets people know, listen, this is not the basic you're getting. The output is
Yeah.
fantastic. And I'll attest to that for you for
Yeah.
sure. And
Okay.
when people think about business, okay?
Mm-hmm.
How, because what you do is very specific. How did you
Mm-hmm.
land, and tell people a little bit more about what you do in the specifics? How did you land on that being something that you package and you offer it?
Okay, girl, let me tell you. So in university, I needed to pay my tuition. So
Yeah.
I got a job as a clown, like actual, like, like, walk around that kind of clown. So I worked for this company for years and they paid really, really well, which allowed me to go to school during the week. And then on the weekends, when all the events would happen, I would just work weekends really like condensed and still make the same amount of money that my friends were making who had full time jobs, who had to like really balance their schedules, and I was able to stack all of that on the weekend. So I worked with kids and I knew that I wanted to be in a field working with children anyway. So it all kind of just made sense. So I remember I got pretty close with the boss, the woman who owned the company, and I would make suggestions of ways to grow the company or things that I think would be cool to offer. And she seemed pretty close minded to it. I would make suggestions like, I think we should do this. As I'm painting kids' faces, because that's what we were doing. We were doing face painting and balloon animals. Like, I'm not just silent. I'm talking to the kids. I'm
Yeah.
figuring out what they like, what their hobbies are, and they're telling me their life stories because kids can talk.
Yeah.
And I would just bring suggestions and ways to grow the company and things to add on. And she didn't seem very receptive to it. So then I decided to make my own. And the number one thing was like, kids don't like clowns. Nobody likes clowns, really.
They're scary.
Yeah,
They're
they're
scary.
scary. And we would have kids who would come up to us and then start crying because they didn't they wanted to get their face painted, but they didn't want us to do it because we're scary. So I think that was one of the things that I was like, in my business, we're not dressing up as clowns. Like, we're not doing that. We're going to be normal people. Think of us as like the fun gym teacher or the fun drama teacher. I think that's the vibe. So that's how I ended up here. The idea always was, though, to work in children's production. We're talking live action, animation, that kind of thing. So when I started the company back in 2016, 2017, it was for the sole purpose of fundraising, or another way of fundraising. I would make the money doing the events, and that would be the money that would support my production. And then the company just grew and got so busy, it didn't allow me the time to actually do the production. So it's kind of like one of those things. After the pandemic, I'm coming back and I'm keeping that in mind, of, how do I balance everything? I no longer have a full-time job. Before I did have a full-time job, so I was able to sustain myself.
Mhm.
So yeah, I'm kind of in the midst of figuring that out, but I'm being very careful of where I'm putting my time and what the main goal is, and staying on my path.
Yeah, and that's really great considering that there's, I feel like you're getting an opportunity to express all the creativity you have inside. Like you're not
Oh
limiting
yes.
yourself to the one
Hmm.
thing. It's like, yeah, you're a gifted artist, graphic designer, but there's also this really cool uh, podcast that you do, and then there's storytelling. So it's like, I love seeing that come to life for you and to encourage others that we're not created to do just one thing. Like it's okay if you do have a lot of your different offerings and your gifts packaged. So it's almost like a menu for your clients
Yeah.
to choose from, which is really
Yeah.
cool. That's really cool. So tell me then about, because you probably live in the world of the unconventional. What's one story you can share with us? Like, what's one unconventional thing you've done in your business that led to unexpected success?
Ooh, that's a really good question. Um, I would say really leaning into programming based services. A lot of the time when you see entertainment, especially for private parties like kids' birthdays and stuff, it's very cut and paste. And I grew up doing, recreation programs, art classes, cooking classes, that kind of thing. And you don't really see that kind of specialty when we're talking about like generalized birthday party or corporate event entertainment. So it was something where I'm like, I'm a really crafty girl. And I know there's a lot of kids who are really crafty too. How can I incorporate this into my business? So I think the first craft that I incorporated into my business was slime. And obviously that was a hit. That's one thing that has really changed the game of my business, just becoming an expert in slime and like going around the city and teaching kids also how to make slime. And since then, we've expanded now into the sticker making. We're about to do some really like cool decadent art, decotint, I think it's called, art, where it's like they do the piping on the phone cases.
Oh,
That's really,
cool.
really cool. Yeah. So I think just bringing the programming to the party service entertainment.
Yeah, that's really special and even staying relevant, right? So I guess back in the day when we grew up, we didn't have, well, did we even have a cell phone? Yeah, I got a cell phone maybe I was in high school. No,
Mm-hmm.
I had a pager in high school, maybe
Did you?
university, right?
Okay.
But now you're catering to, yeah, this generation has cell
Mm-hmm.
phones. So a
Yeah.
birthday party entertainment feature would be really attractive that they have cell phone decorating opportunity. That's so cool.
Yeah, or even like little mirrors, or like for their
Yeah,
iPads. Every kid has an iPad, a case for
yes,
their iPad. We're decorating
yes.
that. So I think it's really cool.
Awesome, awesome. And how would you say, I know you juggle quite a few things, and
Hmm.
often as entrepreneurs, it's hard to stay connected to our why when things do get overwhelming. So how do you stay connected to your big picture?
Okay, so I have this little booklet. It's tiny and it's by my bed. And it's everything that I want. I write it down in the booklet. And I can go into it and change things as I please and add things and take things away. And every night before I sleep, I read everything that I want. In the mornings, I will read back my journal entry from the night before, and that will help guide my day. If I don't do those things, because there are days that, when I fall off, I just don't have the time. By the time I get into bed, I'm so tired. Or, when I get up, it's like you got to get to it. So I notice a stark difference in the days where I don't set my intention. I don't remind myself of what this is all for. I kind of feel all willy nilly and all over the place. But when I have the time, which is like, those special days, I can take my time, read, and then go about my day and keep it at the forefront. Also, I keep sticky notes like, around me in my workstation, just with words that remind me of like what I'm doing this for and what the main thing is. My best piece of advice that I got from a friend was stop majoring in minor things. And that's something I always have to tell myself and always have to remind myself because, like you said, there are so many things that I like, so many things that I enjoy. I enjoy writing, I enjoy,
Yeah,
illustrating and all of that. But if the main goal is to, put out children's books and have a children's TV show while I'm operating my business, I have to make sure that at least every day I'm doing one thing that's taking me closer to that end goal?
that's so good. And being a visual person myself, I see the value. I'm going to start doing that. I have my sticky notes, I have my affirmations in places as well, but
Mm-hmm.
write down in the evening or have your list of what you want for your life
Yeah.
and to review that on an ongoing
Yes.
basis. That needs
Mm-hmm.
to be something I'm implementing as well. Because, yeah, it gets overwhelming. So
Yeah.
we do a lot. You guys
Mm-hmm.
think about it. We do a lot.
We
And
do a lot.
yeah, 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 we're one person as well.
Mhm.
So,
I
okay,
have a question. Can I turn it back on you for a
sure,
second?
of course you
Okay.
would. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So, what do you do to remind yourself? Because similar to me, you have a lot going on and your businesses are really successful and you have a lot of moving parts. Like you have staff, you have a lot of children that you service and a lot of parents and clients that you manage. Like, how do you do it all?
So I would thank you, Cass. Thank you for now putting me in the
You're
interview.
very welcome.
So for me, I think what has changed is being very intentional about my community and about my environment that I need to surround myself with. So with French
Ah,
Tutor, very much I have a team. Like I have
mhm.
other teachers who I trust and who are as passionate about what we do to help me lead the different classes for the different age groups. And knowing that who you hire often they should be better than you. Like they should be, they're my hands and feet very often. So I make sure that who I have on the team is executing in a way that's like two times the least, if that's
Mhm.
if that's possible, right?
Yeah.
Uh, and then I would say the second part is just intentionally choosing my environment. So I'm a part of communities with other entrepreneurs who, on the days of overwhelm, can encourage me and say, "Girl, you got this." Or
Mhm.
remember your why, Elise, like, or let's hop on a quick Zoom or send you a quick voice note to just
Yeah.
encourage you because you want to be around people who get the journey you're on. And there's people who are not on your journey, but they can still be considered your life cheerleaders. So there's
Mhm.
friends and people I'm connected to where it's like, no, you got this. You're Elise. Like, don't
Yeah.
forget. And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
re-inject that confidence and that go to. And then someone like you, right? We have a monthly coffee date that we meet
We
up
do.
in person and we have like a business meeting, a friend's
Mhm.
business
Yeah.
meeting. And that's also encouraging for me. We set deliverables. We're like, hey, next time we meet, we're going to have ABC done and we hold each other
Mhm.
accountable. So,
Mhm.
all those pieces, like community, intentionally choosing your environment, and just having your confidence injectors, if that's your
Yeah.
personal life, and
Mhm.
people who are committed to see you win, being really, really clear on that's the only bubble you want to be in.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's helped
Absolutely.
me for sure.
Okay, and then I have one other sorry,
Sure.
small question. For you when you're finding staff, you mentioned that you want staff who are going to come
Yeah.
and who are going to deliver.
Yeah.
How, like, what's your secret recipe? Because you and I would probably hire very similarly. We want
Yeah.
someone who's organized, someone who is good with kids. Like, how do you find those people and how do you encourage them to stay?
Yeah. Good question. So for me, I have an interesting way of approaching things because I don't even want to bring the conversation of having the skills to the table. Why? Because there's tons of people in my case who can speak French and who can teach children French. Okay, you
Mm-hmm.
have the skill of doing that. Now, what is more important to me is how I feel when we are having that exchange and that experience. I want my kids, my students to feel something different. And I it's not on a rubric in an
Mm-hmm.
interview when I'm doing it, but it's like, wow, I like you. I want
Yeah.
to listen to you speak more. The way you explain things makes me feel comfortable and at ease.
Yeah.
And that's, yeah, so it's the skills, duh. Like you're a French teacher in the school board. Of course you're
Mm-hmm.
amazing. Like, or of course you are gifted at the subject, but
Yeah.
then it's about the feeling behind.
Yes.
Yeah, just as like it's like an energy read that I have
Mm-hmm.
to experience with them and
Yeah.
go, if I like you, our students I guess is
Yeah,
how it
yeah,
goes.
yeah. Yeah, I feel the same. Like when I meet someone, sometimes I'll be out, like, and I meet a lot of servers who have that personality bit, right?
Ah,
So, like, there are questions that I ask, and then at the end, I'm like, here's my card if you ever want to come, like, work with me. Because I know, like, face painting and balloon art and, like, dance and, like, hosting, like, craft stations, all of that, like, it is a skill, but
yeah,
it's a teachable. It's like you're looking
right.
for these innate things, these innate traits of people who you're like, okay, they're going to be great to work with, they're going to represent well for my business. And most importantly, they're going to deliver the quality and warmth to the children on the ground. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think even having witnessed you in action, it's important. Sometimes face painting for some children, it may be a new thing. So they have to
Yeah.
feel comfortable and,
Yes.
hey, I'm sitting, someone's touching my face, they're really close
Yep.
to me.
Mm-hmm.
How do I feel in that? That's what's going to make them want to book you and spread the word. And
Yeah.
she's really great. The kids enjoyed that experience.
Right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's very, very key. All right. So winding down a little bit, I mean,
Yes.
I would I'd want to know, and I think others will want to know as well, right? If there was one piece of advice you could offer to other entrepreneurs who exist in your or one of your industries,
Yeah.
okay, what would that be and why?
Oh my gosh, don't wait for perfection. That's it. And the why is from personal experience. I think for so long I knew what I needed to do, but I was waiting for the right time. There is not a right time. Like if you start and you're not embarrassed by like what you're doing at least a little bit, then you've waited too long, you
That's
know?
right.
And as I was saying earlier, it's like baby steps, you know? If you sit back and you wait and you think and you ruminate, yes, you do need planning, but like, do you need that much? And I'm speaking of this because I am that person. I was that person
Yeah,
who would make an entire spreadsheet of everything I want to do, how I'm going to do it, and then not execute on it. So I think a plan is great, it's fantastic, but it's nothing without execution. So my main piece of advice is action. You need action. Break it up and test things out as well, right? I could go in so deep and make this huge plan for this elaborate new party service that I want to offer. But if I've never tested it, if I've never actually done it hands on with a group of kids or seen their faces or, tried it out, then like I could be wasting my time. So get out there, get experience. Don't be afraid to not be great because the only way to get great is to start when you're not.
that's it. That's a mic drop.
Mm-hmm.
We're just gonna end it right there.
Uh,
Okay, so Cass, let the people know where they can find you.
Okay, so you can find me at www.allthecrazetv.com. And then my Instagram is at allthecrazetv. If you have kids ages 4 to 8, even a little bit older, can tune in to my podcast, Kids from Room 416. So, Kids from Room 416. You can find that anywhere you find podcasts, Spotify, Apple, Google, all that good stuff. If you want to reach out to me, my email address is on the website as well. And I'll send it to Elise so she can put it in any notes where the show is going.
Yes, absolutely. I'll be sure to drop the links below. Cass, it's been a blast. We gotta do this
Yeah.
in a like to be continued extended
Oh, we could
version.
have. Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you, Cass. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Take care,
See
guys.
ya. Bye.